welcome back to another episode of Unscripted and Unchoreographed. Today we have two guests with us. We have Ayesha Mailey and Kelly Quigley, and these two lovely ladies are the ensemble members from Echo Echo Dance Theatre. And we're going to be talking about all the things that are happening in Echo Echo and what the future holds for them in the coming weeks. And there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment, so we are going to try and keep this positive. But to start us off, thank you so much, girls, for coming on. It's great to meet you.
Thanks so much for having us. We're really happy to be here. Yeah, we are based right in the city of Derry. We're on the walls. We have our own studio and performance space. It's like a home to us, but also it's for artists all around this area and further afield. So we have international guests coming, artists coming to do residencies, performances, workshops. Not just in dance, but also different disciplines. We have four ensemble, the four of us, so myself, Kelly, Zoe Ramsey, Shayna. We have some associate artists who can use the space, get support, admin, production, because it's hard when you're an individual artist or a small company. You kind of do it all and have to make your art. So to have this contact is amazing for us and for the other artists locally, national and international. One that comes seems amazing. This is the dream. And it is, it was our dream.
To take us back to the very beginning, how did you guys get involved with Echo Echo?
Well, I was just involved in youth dance during my kind of teenage years, contemporary dance and Derry youth dance. About 17, I suppose I started to fall away from it a little bit. Getting older and other things were becoming more important to my social life than that. But at that time, Steve and Ursula, who are the co-founders of Echo Echo, they were touring in Ireland and they came to an art centre in Derry, House, and they were doing a workshop. I just got a phone call in the morning saying, "There's this company here. I'm sure you'd love this workshop. Why don't you come? It's in an hour." I just thought, okay, I'll go. Kind of changed my life. It was just like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And I've been away from dance for maybe a year. I wasn't as committed as I was before, but it was like, it really inspired me how they worked. So we did like a performance project with them over a weekend. And then they returned a year later and actually became resident company in the Playhouse. By that time I was 18 and I was just about to go to university, but I decided I'm going to be a year out and dance and basically be like an apprentice with the company. And I had an amazing year. There was two other girls who were part of that apprenticeship. They actually sent us to Germany for 2 months to work with colleagues of theirs. It was incredible. And then the third part of it was Steve. He directed us in solos. So we kind of had a year of performance work, and then along with that, we were shadowing them. So that kind of made my decision then, no, I'm going to actually stay on this path of dancing. And I've been with the company then. So that was when they first moved here. So that was 28 years ago. I went and did a dance degree in Chichester and came back. I'm a freelance self-employed artist, but I've been really lucky to have this company, this structure, this support throughout my career. So that's my story.
I met Echo Echo through the dance degree in Derry at the University of Ulster, McGee. So one of your past guests, Ryan O'Neill, me and Ryan were in the same class. And on that course, Ursula, Steve and Ayesha were tutors. Ayesha was my choreography tutor in my third year. Ayesha was making like a children's piece for a children's festival that was happening in Belfast. And she asked me to be part of it. And that's really how it all started. So after I graduated, Steve said, "Would you like to come and be an apprentice, basically?" And I said, "Yes, please." So I shadowed Ayesha and Steve for like a year. I've had amazing opportunities through working with Echo Echo. I've met so many different professional artists from different companies. I've worked in Sweden and Russia, Hong Kong. I've been with the company for 16 years. I just feel so grateful to have the network, the community, the support, because it's so hard as an employed individual artist. There's so many different hats you have to wear. It's made so much easier by having the support.
Is it nice, or is it a draw that Echo Echo is based in Derry and that you can still be part of Derry or the north of Ireland where you guys grew up? Steve, he wasn't really interested in working with people who, I'm going to do this project, but then I'm going to go off and do this and that. He was very interested in people staying in the community in Derry. Was that something you guys were interested in doing?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I had 4 years with Echo Echo before I went and did my dance degree, so I did it quite late, 22. In our third year, we had a company that we set up. I sort of spent the summer after the degree in Chichester. My dissertation piece had been picked up at the festival there, so we performed it there. We made a company and we taught a bit together through that summer. It was great, and I loved that course, and I met some amazing people. But I suppose then I thought, actually, do I want to get my roots here? I don't actually want to live here. I just had this draw to Echo Echo because nothing stable in life really, but it gave me some stability and context and support. While I had a lot of freedom, I can still go off and work with somebody else. All that was still within possibilities. So that was a kind of decision, like, should I stay on? Should I thought about doing like a master's? And then like Ursula said to me, if you come back, this can be like your master's because I was able to carve out what I was interested in, because the company is very artist led. It's not that you're just being like, this is the project that you're doing and you're the performer. You can bring things to the table. This is what I'm really interested in. Great if we can find some funding for this. So I'm glad I made that choice.
Me too. For me, it was a wee bit different because I already had 2 children. Well, sorry, I had 1 child when I started the dance degree, and then had to take a year out of the degree because I got pregnant. So I had 2 children by the time I had graduated. So for me, it was really serendipitous that this company was in my hometown and they wanted to work with me. I wanted to work with them. And so it was just an easy decision for me. It was just a very enthusiastic yes. Maybe I could have gone away, but it wasn't really feasible for me at that time and didn't really want to do that. I didn't really want to get into the competitive world of dance, of auditions. I'm a very kind of sensitive soul and it's too much. That world is too much for me. But I love moving and I love dancing. It was just a very easy choice for me to stay here. And I'm very glad also that I did.
Being a part of the Echo Echo family, how have they helped you create your own work, and have you enjoyed that?
We have been working together for so many years. With Steve, we have developed a reading dance, watching movement, talking about creating a which is poetic movement. We're really interested in people moving, how you communicate with the audience. The whole range of movement is interesting. So it's not just the like Steve kind of describes it as well as like having like your armor off, so you really let yourself be seen and you have that integrity, because the audience is really intelligent. The audience sees everything.
It's nice to have like the big adjectives describing words, but the ands and the buts and the those and the a's and the ifs are also important, and so we don't place value on the big showy words. Not more value. Of course, they're valuable. We don't place more value on them if all of the words that are available have value. Does that make sense?
How you put them together, how you compose them.
Because you guys have been working together for so long, I would have just assumed that the work can get maybe deeper or can get further than if you are working with different people every few different projects. Because you've worked together for so long, is there a real sense of you really know how each other move or what you're thinking? You kind of have this almost sixth sense as a group.
Yes.
Because we do have, like, I don't really like this word. We were talking about this word the other day. I'm going to use it anyway because I don't know what other word to use. But we do have like a shared methodology, I suppose. We have a kind of vocabulary or language that we're exploring.
We have developed like a telepathy between each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to shy away from that word, even though that's what I felt, but that's what it is. I can read Ayesha and she doesn't need to speak, and I know exactly where she's going to go, and then that gives me the choice: will I follow her, will I come with her, or will I go against her? Because we're very much rooted in improvisation. So yes, we have definitely developed a telepathy between each other, and not only that, but we found a way to be able to share that with other people. So for example, I teach a group called Body Wisdom, and you have to be 50 to be in the group, and they're very dedicated. It's more like a project than like a weekly class. But because we, the ensemble, have this shared deep process, it was so easy for me to be able to share that with other people. And now they work as an ensemble and they have a telepathy between them. It's amazing.
I mean, that's what, when you go into kind of production, there was a company that's part of us, like, let's live together for this time, let's eat together. So, so that you have that rapport and connect with each other. This has been for decades with us.
But that's amazing because it is so rare unless you're in a big, massive company. But in that sense, there's so many of them that you're hardly going to know everyone. The fact that there are only 4 of you, it's very unusual. I think it's just lovely. I wish there were more places like this that you could bond with these people and be like, hey, yeah, we're going to work together for a few years. We're going to create this work. The work is only going to evolve quicker and get further because there's so many things of when you go to a project and you're like, okay, we have 6 weeks to go from, hi, my name is Sarah, to we're on stage. So you sometimes maybe skip over the who everyone is or where everyone is coming from. And I'm sure that's another thing. If you're all working together and you all know each other and you all live down the road from each other, commuting has already gotten shorter.
I was just thinking, like, a few years ago, I had some funding, which was amazing. I had like an ACES award from Arts Council, individual award, and part of it, I was traveling up to Belfast and using a space up there to make, I was making a solo, but also making connections with artists in Belfast, which was amazing for that year. I had the funding to be able, to take that time once a week. I was really privileged. But in my day-to-day life now, I don't have those resources. I don't have I don't have the money or the time to doing that once a week. I have a child, I have an elderly parent that I care for. No, it's not possible.
Even Steve was talking about it. There's so much understanding in the group because you know each other and you know, oh, I've actually got this commitment and I need to be there at this time. And it's not a big deal. Whereas if you've got a project and you've got 6 weeks, you don't know anyone, you are literally airdropped into a group. If something comes up or whatever it is, a personal thing that you're like, I actually have to go and do that. That understanding is not always there because there's more of an expectation of, well, you need to give me all of your time for this 6 weeks. But life doesn't happen like that. Things come up and things happen and you're like, look, I know I said I'd be here for the 6 weeks, but actually I've got to be somewhere else now. And right now that is more important, or I'm needed there more. I just think it's such a nice thing. And like I said, I wish there were almost pockets of these all over the country. It would be so wonderful.
Absolutely.
Like even for example, so around Easter time I was really sick. I had a really bad flu. I was out for 2 weeks and I had missed work. But because we work together, we support each other, it's not a question. I still got paid for the work. Whereas in a context where people don't know you, you're airdropped in, maybe that doesn't happen, but we've set it up in a way that
we're that support for each other.
It's a wee tiny thing,
but
that is so lovely to have and to know that it's right. Okay, if I get, it's okay if I get that.
Or your child gets sick
or your child,
something like this. Right, I'll do your class.
We'll cover for each other.
Yeah, and it's not like just somebody where you're putting it, you're on a WhatsApp group. Will anybody cover this class? Maybe you don't even know the person or what kind of work they do. I'm sick and I need somebody to cover my class, I can ask Kelly or so, Tonya or Steve. I'll just say, this is what I've been working on, and they're just going to come straight in and continue the work that's been going on for the weeks before.
I've no doubt week of shows and texts are still stressful. I don't think they're ever going to be not stressful. But do you think the stress is maybe not as much?
We have sort of had that privilege of having the space and time together before. We also have a technician in Echo. So that is amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't always have that. Things are not always exactly maybe how you thought they were going to be. Of course, that things still happen, but it is minimized. At least you're kind of going in with, plan A, B, C. This is the dream. I just wish we could keep going with it. What we've built up, of course,
we do know what it's like to not have a person doing all the tech. Like, I remember them days and the stress and trying to talk to a technician, and they're looking at you like you're talking gobbledygook to them, and you're like, oh my God, is this ever going to be done? So we are so privileged to have Barry Davis. He's our technician. He's amazing. You can give him an idea and he will just bring it to life in an even better way than you thought. So we are literally living the dream.
Because artists want to collaborate with each other. That's what we want it to be. It's not just about do this, do that.
Yeah, pressing a button. He's bringing his artistic vision to it as well.
It's such an artist thing as well, that you bounce off each other. And it sounds like that's really what has been created, even with like your technician, where it's like, okay, I've got this idea. He's probably already on the same wavelength. Okay, give me a sec. Let me think about this. Let's try this. And you're like, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly.
The thing is, I feel like we haven't been able to realize the sort of full potential of it because we're still self-employed. We're trying to live, it's difficult here. There isn't as much funding.
Especially for productions, like you can get money for research or for, training, but to actually make a production, there's no money available for that.
When we make a work, we don't have funding. We're lucky that we have the space and everything, but we don't get money.
Make a time and we just agree and commit to make a piece of work in this time, and then hopefully we get some box office. We wouldn't be in this game if it was all about the money, obviously. But at the same time,
there's a lot of potential here that hasn't been completely realised because of the lack of funding. We had more funding, but we could just much more work than what we are.
Unfortunately, you guys have lost all your funding, 100% of your funding from the Arts Council of Northern Ireland, which are your main funders. What was your guys' reaction to this, and how did you guys find out?
I found out through a text message. I had several missed calls because they couldn't get a hold of me, and they sent through text. I still don't really feel like it's sunk in. I still don't really believe that it's happened. I was very shocked. I was really, really shocked.
Yeah, it just came in an email. It was a similar letter that you would get. Something. It's just trying to process of like having such long-term relationship for 20 years. What we built in the local community, nationally, internationally. We have this amazing space that is a gift to so many people. And it's really part of so many people's lives, and they really treasure and value. And so sudden, so drastic. No consultation, even if there had been maybe doubts from their point of view, maybe that they thought things could be developed in a different way. And I feel that should have been communicated because you would think that we would have a good relationship.
There was nothing, no indication, and even from previous applications from various different projects or pots of funding, never once were any questions raised about any doubts from the Arts Council about what we do or how we're doing it.
That must have been such a shock. You have like such a long-standing relationship with the Arts Council, and then just to be cut off and not really to be given a completely believable explanation. We went into a little bit with Steve yesterday how there seems to be like an air of confusion, and that thing of, well, if there was a problem, why did no one flag this with yous? Because if Echo Echo does cease to exist, there doesn't seem to be something that's going to replace it. I know it's not nice to think about, but how does that impact yous?
I think they made a statement, the Housewives made a statement to like local press. This isn't a quote, but it was that you dancers in the Northwest will be supported or taken care of or something. Because we are those people. We know nothing about it. We haven't been consulted. So what is it? When's it going to happen? Where's it going to happen? By what mechanisms? And why are we not involved in the conversation after working in this sector for 28 years?
It was something like, we are still committed to providing provision for dance in the Northwest. So like, we are that. We have been provided. We're the ones that have been providing that. There's been no consultation. It's just vague platitudes that they're given, but there's no concrete, no solid solutions or proposals from them.
You're the ones who are looking after those people, and now that has been taken away from you, and they're just going to say, oh, yeah, they will all be taken care of. I feel like if you're going to do that, you should at least tell the people, oh, actually, we're going to move in a different direction now. You guys have 28 years of experience of doing this. We would at least value your opinion on how we can do this, how we can maybe make it bigger, maybe more efficient, or whatever way they're thinking. But to kind of just go, oh yeah, drop them, we'll look after them, but to not have a plan, I feel like it's almost like releasing someone from hospital, and life cannot go back to the way it was, but releasing them from the hospital and not checking to see, oh, can these guys actually go back home, because their life is completely different now. Sorry, that's probably a bit of a depressing analogy, but that's the thing that pops into my head.
Well, like, it's like, what do we do? Where do we go? And what do we do? It's like really uncertain.
We have built something really amazing, and we could go so much further, and we could do so much more. Like I keep saying, this potential is there, and it's not really being fully realised. And there's times, definitely in the last couple of years, I have felt a bit stuck, or like kind of going, where's my career going next? What way is this going? And you don't just chart everything that you've built when you reach those places. Try to find a way of growing. So I don't know. I think we're quite determined that we will stay as a ensemble, and we'll find ways of continuing to work together. We had a beautiful weekend. It was at a workshop, intensive weekend, working as an ensemble.
Was it 23 people, like over the 2 days, dancers and actors from all over Ireland?
People in their 20s, and then people
in their 60s and 70s.
Wow.
So I was talking about Body Wisdom earlier. Some of them just came to Body Wisdom to dance. They wanted to move, and they're getting older. But because they were committed to the process and stayed, some of them are now making their own art and performing in theatres. They're part of festivals. They're applying for funding. They're artists in their own right, which I absolutely love, that we've taken out that kind of ageist aspect of dance. So it was an absolutely beautiful weekend, and to see people who are starting their careers, but as I say, there are people in their 20s, but there's also people in their 60s that are starting their careers, and they're sharing in this process, and it was just so beautiful, and felt like for us just the beginning of this kind of work.
Before COVID, we were kind of on that trajectory. We taught in Sweden together. We've gone to Russia. We've done an intensive as an ensemble, and we've done a few around Ireland.
We did one in Dublin.
But yeah, we're sort of on that trajectory, and then I think then COVID happened, and it's taken a while to build it up again.
But even that in itself is unique, that there's 4 people leading this intent. It's not one person. It's 4 people, and we're bringing different aspects, because even though we share the process and share methodology, we interpret that process, that methodology in very different ways, because we're individuals. So there's aspects of poetic movement that I've taken and ran with, and there's aspects that Ayesha's taken and ran with. So then we're able to bring them together for this like intensive workshop and give people all these different ways and lenses of looking at poetic movement, which you don't really find.
You guys have so much in the building that you have access to. If Echo does cease to exist in the way it is now, what happens to the building, or how does that impact you?
I mean, possibly there's other spaces that we could use in our centres. We have access to this space. We don't pay for it, as we have to run the space on it. So we're able to do free. The studio's clean, warm. So that is amazing. Like for me, it feels like we lose the building and we're going backwards.
It's like a musician losing their instrument. How do you practice? How do you play without it?
I was thinking, I was teaching in Barnes Court, and it was school groups coming together, and they have a beautiful room there, and just the whole atmosphere is lovely there. They're about 11 years old, and you know that age is a wee bit, especially maybe with boys, oh God, don't dance, this kind of thing. And there was a wee bit of that energy, and then we came into the space and we started, and we just had this amazing workshop. But I was thinking part of that is really to do with the space, because you pick up on everything. The environment is so important when you're working, when you're creating.
We've really worked hard to make this like a home from home, not just for us, but for anybody who walks through the building. And, just from the feedback we get from people, that's very often in the feedback about the atmosphere and environment that we've created here. I think that will be really hard to replicate in just a random space.
And you've created that over like 28
Yeah.
years, which is such a long time to build up a community, but also to build up trust in a community.
Because people are travelling, people who travel to our classes and performance from Donegal, from the rural areas in Derry, Strabane District Council, and Tyrone and Quigley. They travel to us, to our class.
Not just Derry
City, it's within the wider.
Which almost makes it worse, because for that person who is in Donegal or Tyrone, maybe now the only option is to go all the way up to Belfast, and then it comes back into the commuting, especially if it's a child and parents are working. That might not be feasible and might not be possible. Access to the arts, it's so easy to make it easy, but it is very easy to make it difficult. When you take that away, you're losing such a community that you guys have built up.
And even for the Arts Council, they've invested so much money into this building. It was a derelict building before we moved in, and now it's built for purpose. So what happens? It's such a waste of public money to then just okay, we're going to invest in this company for 20 years, and now we're done. It doesn't make sense.
Wild that maybe that wasn't thought out, that it's like, oh, if we're going to invest all this money, we're going to at least have a 10-20 year plan in place, and we're going to check in regularly to make sure that everything is going according to plan, because we don't want to lose such a big investment. That hasn't happened, that there hasn't even been a conversation to give even an indication that, oh, this isn't working anymore, or I think we could do more in this area to keep this investment going, keeping a community going. It just seems bizarre almost that hasn't happened. And to just get a letter and then to hear through text or email that, oh, you've lost all your funding. There was just no communication. I think it really does show, even here with Dublin sometimes, that there's just no communication with the artists, and it's like, hey, this is what they need. They don't work a normal 9-to-5 job, and they don't have a normal office workspace. They need a big empty room. And sometimes I think people can see that as it's a waste of space because it's just a big empty space, and they're like, oh, we could put offices in here, and you're like, no, but this is our office. We need a big empty space so you can then fill it with props, ideas, or whatever you're doing. I think that understanding from governments is still not there. It's unfortunate.
Just a couple of things just went through my head as you were talking. There is a dancer, she's from Derry. She's graduated maybe couple of years ago. She has worked with a couple of companies throughout Ireland. She wants to come home, and she reached out to us, and we met with her, and we basically said, we can't pay you. We don't have those kind of resources or funds, but we have the space. You can come and work here if you want. You can do a residency, just to keep your training up, or just to explore a bit. If she wanted to come maybe and shadow some of our classes, just to see how we work, what it's like to work within the community, because we would have movement set classes with all ages and abilities, and community centres, or care homes, or schools. So we can offer that.
We planned a good
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. She's kind of come home thinking, right, there's Echo, there's this space I can show work in or see performances. When our festival was on, she came to every performance, and she brought our whole family and friends and everybody. She was great PR for us. She would like to be here as a base. And then I just thought about that as we were talking, just thinking about her. It's just so sad.
You go away to finish your training, and coming home is quite difficult because there's not an awful lot of opportunities for young artists or emerging artists. I think someone said it to me before, you have to go away and have your career and come back when you're established.
Yeah.
It seems very hard to establish yourself here. And the fact that you guys were making space for that, I'm sure now there's a lot of dancers going, oh, well, I can't really go back home now because there's nothing there for me. I'll have to still stay away or travel, particularly for the people who want to come home. Maybe that chance is taken away. The fact as well that you guys had planned out a apprenticeship for this girl, and now it's like, well, how are we going to do that now?
And it's not just dancers. We have a puppeteer who uses the space. We have actors that use the space, musicians,
visual artists. Laurie, who you've met,
Yeah.
Schneider.
who you know, she's an associate artist of ours. Actually, she's upstairs at the moment.
She said to say hello.
Hi.
We're so close, and we've been working together for so long. Just how we are, and also the nature of our work is very inclusive. So we just love collaborating and working with other people, other dancers, musicians,
visual artists. There's like little ensembles that spin off from our ensemble.
Yeah.
We also have an ensemble with 3 women musicians, 4 dancers and 3 musicians, and we do stuff all around Ireland.
Yeah, like improvised performance, let's play. It's called. Often do it for like family audiences. I perform for them and do like a workshop, movement and music workshop. So we'll be doing that in the summer too.
It's such a nice way where you meet people. Let's create something, let's make something, but you can commit to other things as well.
Yeah.
It's great that you guys have that freedom.
Oh, definitely, because we're all freelance self-employed, just that we work through the company. So just thinking again, sort of at the beginning of my career, I was so lucky. We're sort of here, kind of Asia, Europe. I was so lucky because of Echo. There's so many artists from all around the world that would come and work on projects with us, either to come and maybe lead like some workshops, or they were coming to work on production. So even though we were based here, the cast was international. It's just amazing. Because we have the festival as well, we see so much work. Right?
Echo can't exist. That the festivals would also disappear with that.
Yeah.
Which is such a shame as well, because you don't hear of many groups like this where you've got a core ensemble who also have space. They have their own building, they have their own theatre, they have classes for adults and children, but also have festivals as well. Like you really have like the whole package. And that just, I think, shows over 28 years you've been able to be involved for so long that you've actually seen, oh, we can do this and do that. I'm sure that not everything has worked every time you've tried to do something, but you've had that time to figure out, okay, that didn't work. Let's try it like this. And you have time to figure out, okay, this is the best way of doing it. and working through that and being like, right. And by the end of it, you're like, we've got a pretty well-oiled machine here. Okay, it may not be perfect, but it will be a lot better than groups that just to get together for 6 weeks. You have a really amazing opportunity just to be so embedded in the community and the wider community area. To lose that is devastating.
Yeah. We do so much for the funding that we did get.
We try and make that go as far as possible.
I think for us self-employed artists, having Echo because it's artist-led, if we apply for other funding for projects, that is our bread and butter. Because as individual artists, we can't apply for money like that here and there. It's really just like we said, short training or maybe to make solo. So the work that we do in the community, care homes, those community centres, we Echo's apply for that money, and so we'll get the artist fees from that.
See,
So
okay.
it cuts down, in terms of our just daily life, our income, even though we're not being made redundant or losing our jobs as such, but we are affected.
Yeah. Most of our income or most of the projects that we do are contracted through the company. Like 90% of my work is through the company. So if the company goes,
Yeah.
if we lose all the work.
And the fact that you guys can't apply for those like care home jobs without like going through the company, that's really hard because you're losing that work and knowing, oh, well, I can't get that through this way again. So either you have to look another way of doing it or just accept that, oh, we won't be doing that work from now on. That's really hard.
So we have an ongoing campaign to save Echo. There are different ways that you can support or help with that. We have a letter writing campaign that's happening to our minister that looks after arts money. So Department for Communities, Gordon Lyons. You can email him, write him a letter, or you can go onto our website actually, and we've given a few guidelines of who to contact and how to do that. And we also have a crowdfunder on our website that we have up just to try and keep us going as long as possible while we're awaiting our review decision from the Arts Council. Our website is
www.echoecodance.com.
You could also find us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.